Leipzig workshop of the Falesaf project, the very last workshop in our 2 years project about storytelling on folklore, and the only workshop taking place in a big city.
Good morning, everybody, from me. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that fantastic that so many people from all corners of Europe, from the most extreme northwest in Iceland to the most extreme southeast in Bulgaria, join here together in Leipzig to tell and to listen to stories. We are a very big group, so I would like to split it up rather soon into smaller groups, and then you will work in the smaller groups so that you get the opportunity to tell stories and to listen to stories as often as possible. The contents of the story are not so important. Now we are concentrating more on how you tell it, on the relation you have to the story and to the listener. First round is very easy. You look for a partner and just tell the story as you know it now. The focus is on you as a teller, not on the other person as a listener.
There was a man whose wife died, and he has a daughter, and then he married another lady that has a daughter too. But the stepmother was not happy to have this good girl in the house.
This story is about selkies. Selkies are seal people. So they're people that are seals in the sea, but they can come on land and take off their seal skin and walk around like humans.
Now, second round. The task is tell the story as gossip, or you can tell it in a dialect. Second round's over, please come back. My question is, did anything change in your way of telling it?
I realized that I had to change the order of the story.
Okay.
Because I started telling it, and then I realized that I had to jump to almost to the end.
I was doing an accent and a bit of gossip as well, but it was like little asides. Anyway, back to the story, but it was sort of going off on a tangent a lot.
I realized when I had told the whole story, I think I didn't change anything. I was thinking too much about remember the story.
Okay. If you have a story and are not so sure how to get close to it, how to work with that story, then just remember that you could tell it as protagonist, as the antagonist, as gossip. There are a lot more of possibilities. Today we will tell and listen about the Mer people, which is a phenomenon especially in the east of Germany, where the Central European concept of Mer people is some of them are half fish, half human being. They can touch dry ground, but they always have to be in contact with some kind of water. And in Germany especially, they are rather hostile towards human beings. And I will read you the skeleton of the 4 myths, local legends from Leipzig. And after that, you may choose one of the 4 legends and work on it in groups of 3 to tell it as a full story.
So this is set in present time, and it's set on a dark and stormy night where Maria, the midwife, is at her computer after a very, very long shift.
And suddenly, on the counter, her phone begins to vibrate. They're all that happens on the text is an address. Well, this all is a postcode. So she picks up her phone, she grabs her bag and throws on a shawl and goes out the door into the rain that's cascading down from the clouds and smashing against the ground, and she gets into her car and as fast as she can types it into a sat-nav and drives off into the distance.
And she's driving towards the river, and the sat-nav says, "You've reached your destination on your right." There's nothing there. And the next thing she knows, the car starts moving on its own. It's being drawn down the jetty into the river, and then suddenly she sees lights ahead of her, and there's this beautiful city, an underwater city, almost translucent, with beautiful lights and buildings, and in front of her there's a group of mer people who are welcoming her.
A Leipzig tram is rumbling through the quiet streets. Groups of people going shopping at the local supermarket. One strange person is amongst that group. She always has a rather odd smell about her, and the bottom of her long skirt is always wet for the first 12 inches. So they've wondered about this for some time. This particular morning they all go into the supermarket. She gets her shopping trolley, does her rounds, gets mostly fish, and then as she begins to leave the supermarket, the security staff become curious.
What's going on here? We have to see what this woman's doing.
There also was a little girl, mermaid in the lake. So she used to watch the boy canoeing in the boat and kind of just wanted to be his friend. So she decided one day, she was like 18, and she was like, okay, I think it's the time now, I have to show myself to the boy. She had all her lovely clothes on, and she came out of the water and her fins disappeared. She saw that he wasn't on his own. There was a crowd of people, so she was kind of surprised, and she was wondering what is the celebration. So she realised that it was his wedding day and that he was getting married, so she felt heartbroken.
So her anger was so great, and it was swirling around inside of her. So this anger grew outside of her and grabbed the boat and sucked the whole boat full of the wedding party, the groom, the bride, all the wedding party, the parents, the children, down into the depths.
I want to give you a heartfelt welcome to this place. I'm Folklore, and I'm glad that you all found your way here. This is a presentation for a storytelling workshop. It's a European community project. So in the beginning, each group goes to one station, and when you hear this instrument, then it's time to change. Then it's time to pass on to the next.
Come sit down.
This is a story about a very beautiful place that is on the edge of where the land of the humans meet the land of the fairies.
How did it go for you? What was it like?
Like instantly when I finished, I realized it was too short. But it didn't matter because we got all those, like in each group that came to us, one person was telling us a story, so it was an exchange, which was brilliant.
I made that person cry.
On the first day I told the story that I brought from England, and it didn't fill 2 minutes, let alone 3 minutes. But I told it today, I didn't time it, but I felt it was much fuller and better.
And it's the concept, just learning by doing. So, kind of like what Mag was saying, we as the participants need to be started, and then just left to get on with it.
Our friends were working with in small groups as to what worked, what didn't work.
Okay.
I mean, we might not know much about it, but we're human beings, we know what works and what doesn't work.